What's up, guys? How y'all doing? I have returned for another video, and this is my recap of the last University of Hawaii men's basketball game. It was against Northern Arizona, and as you're seeing on this graphic here, the University of Hawaii came out the winners 70 to 61. 70 to 61. That's right. UH came out the winners by 9 points. So, without further delay, let's get started. Okay. Northern Arizona. That was a team, the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. That was a team that the University of Hawaii had only faced one time. And the one and only time, you heard me talk about this, the only time that they faced against each other was at the Stan Share Center here on the islands in 2018. And UH came out the winners there by a considerable margin. And this time, as I said earlier, we won it by 9 points. Now, going back to my prediction, I had said that I would have picked UH as the winners by 7. Okay? I would have picked them for the win by 7. And they did a little better than that. They ended up winning it by 9. And the guy that I thought really came through for this UH squad, Matthue Cotton. He started to show a lot more of what he's capable of. And he even hit down a couple of triples that essentially helped UH pull away from the Lumberjacks and get the win. Cotton ended up with 10 points on the night. You're seeing one of his triples here as I am getting to this right here. Now, while Matthue Cotton is starting to learn the dynamics of the UH squad, I still think that he is where he should be. And I think he's starting to show, and at the same time, I also think he's starting to show what he's truly capable of. Because that 4 points against Niagara was certainly no fluke. You see what I mean here? Now, another guy who certainly didn't have much of a fluke as well is JoVon McClanahan. He led everybody on UH with 13. Now, the lead scorer for the entire game was Trenton McLaughlin of Northern Arizona. And how many did he have? He had 14. But on a night like that, shooting was not necessarily there, especially from three-point range. Northern Arizona ended up making one more triple than the University of Hawaii did. They made 6 triples. UH made only 5. They were 5 for 24, shooting a dismal 20.8%. Okay, so that's UH I'm talking about. And Northern Arizona, they did a little better at 35%. They even took the lead in the first half after UH had a bit of a lapse there. But other than the lapse, I did not see one time where UH really went completely cold, because they actually kept a pretty steady lead for much of the first half until they ended up losing it after Northern Arizona went on a couple of runs and eventually took as much as a 6-point lead. As a matter of fact, they actually went up by 4 in the first half, and UH ended up getting up by as many as 13. And UH, they did really well. And that is why I am giving them an A grade again. Because basically, they did a lot better. They did a little better than I had predicted that they would, granted by 2 points. Now, I will say, though, UH got pretty lucky that they were able to escape with this win, in a sense, because the shooting wasn't there. especially from 3-point range. But as you hear here, but as Coach Ganot says here, he wasn't worried about that. Take a listen to this.
I'm glad our guys kept shooting because we're a good shooting team. We believe in our guys. And we're going to be in trouble if we pass up open shots just because we missed a couple when we're good at shooting the ball.
Now, obviously, there are things that Coach Ganot emphasizes that there are things to work on. I agree. The one thing that I think that they got to do is maybe take the ball in a little bit more, but especially when the 3-point shooting is not there. But eventually they did that. And I'll tell you this, the guy that I thought really showed that he's got his inside game figured out, Morset. Now, obviously, Moore had 7 points, just like against Niagara, but he had a really sweet slam dunk that you're seeing right here. And boy, I tell you, with Morset showing that he is ready, with Morset with having that kind of talent, that shows that he's going to be a great successor when Bernardo da Silva leaves the University of Hawaii after this season. Now, Bernardo in his own right, he did really good as well. He had 8 points, not as much as Niagara where he had 14, but still, he had a couple of turnovers. I do think, though, that at 50% shooting from the free throw line, he was 2 for 4. Part of me feels that Bernardo's free throw shooting is coming around. I mean, it's not terrible per se, but it's getting there. Bernardo showed that he's making some improvements, but a lot of the free throws is mental. Now, another guy who definitely doesn't need any, who's certainly ahead of the 8 ball in that department, Juan Munoz. He made all 4 of his free throws, and he also had a couple of triples, and you're seeing one of them here. And that triple that I got was pretty deep, let me tell you. He had a couple of triples. Matthue Cotton had a couple of triples. And, of course, you can also kind of hear the band, the UH band was saying air ball. That was because a Northern Arizona player had put up an air ball as well before that. So that would explain why they were saying air ball. Now, the one thing that really stood out to me that I didn't even notice until the very end of the game, the only guy who wasn't suited up for UH was Cody Williams. I'm not really sure if he was hurt or something, but turns out we didn't really need him. And another guy that I was actually surprised to hear wasn't available was Harry Ruliadev, at least for the second half. Harry had a couple points. He only played under 10 minutes. And and I'm looking at the final stat sheet. He actually had 3 points, but he made his only field goal, and he was 1 for 2 from the free throw line. So I'm not really sure what was up with Harry. I didn't really want to ask that because I know that as a journalist, you don't really ask about injuries. But hey, that's all right. I mean, it wasn't even on my mind. But I did say this to Coach Ganot, that this Northern Arizona win was a great test for Big West Conference play. And here's what he had to say about that.
Conference play in the first 3 games, we've seen different styles, and that's what you'll see in conference play and quick turnaround. So, we didn't play for a long stretch, and all of a sudden we played the 14, 16, 21. And, conference play has quick turnaround. So we got to get better in quick turnarounds.
obviously with a quick turnaround, and as Coach Gannon had mentioned, with a quick turnaround, they went from being off for 3 weeks to playing 3 games in 2 weeks. 14, 16, 21. Okay. So obviously, all 3 were wins, one of which was probably expected, with UH Hilo being Division II and all. But they came through with the win against Niagara, which I was very happy about, thanks to that first half surge. And they were able to come away with a second consecutive win against Northern Arizona. And that was this past game. Now, the one thing that I would like to see them work on, as I said earlier, is taking the ball inside a little bit more and maybe be a little less dependent on the 3-point shooting. I mean, as Coach Gannon said, he was glad that they didn't stop trying. And I agree. They kept trying. And eventually they started to come. And in terms of 3-point shooting, UH only made 2 in the first half, including this buzzer beater by JoVon McClanahan. That was a big shot here. Look at this. And I'll tell you this, JoVon McClanahan has certainly been showing that he's the king of buzzer beaters, because that's the 3rd time this season that he's hit a triple at the buzzer. Of course, you all remember the SMU game in the Diamond Head Classic Championship. That was the start of it all. He also hit the 3 against St. Mary's, and he also hit the 3 that you just saw a little while ago. So, obviously, JoVon I think he's where he needs to be. And Juan Munoz is certainly getting to where he needs to be. And this is what he had to say.
I'm getting extra work in, extra rehab in, and just taking care of my body. Whether that's getting in the cold tub or doing stuff outside of, team activities to keep myself 100%. So, just taking it day by day. So.
Now, as far as Northern Arizona is concerned, they had some good players. They had 3 guys crack 10 points, including one of their stars, I would presume, is Jayden Jackson. He had 13. Trenton McLaughlin had 14 to lead all players. And Oakland Fort had 10. And he even had a block against Justin McKoy in the second half, which actually took me by surprise because McCoy's a little bit taller than he is. But then again, anything's possible. So obviously, while there are things to work on, I do think that from what I've seen in the first 3 games, UH is really good, and they're getting to where I think they need to be. And I think everybody on that squad is playing up to their potential. Now, as far as Northern Arizona is concerned, yeah, they were lucky. They were able to compete, and they were lucky that UH missed some really good looks. But I think when they got a technical foul called, they actually got 2 technical fouls called, one on Liam Lloyd, and that was after a traveling violation where he got whistled for a travel, and that was a little over 5 minutes into the second half. Or I should say a little over 4 minutes into the second half, because it was just before the media timeout, and he was not happy about that. Unfortunately, I didn't get that on film, but I think he had some choice words to say, and some words that did not go well over for the officials, and he ended up getting called for a technical foul. And the second technical foul went against their coach, and that was with a little over 10 minutes to go. So, obviously, those 2 technicals certainly were certainly real monkey wrenches in Northern Arizona's progress. And the one thing also, that was probably one of their roadblocks, one of their biggest monkey wrenches. But I'll tell you what was a bigger monkey wrench: free throws. Because I saw that game and Northern Arizona went 0 for 3 in the first half from the free throw line. In the second half, they did a little better, 9 of 15. But the fact that they did not hit a free throw in the first half, that can come back and haunt you badly. And that's where I thought made the big difference. And I even brought that up with Coach Ganot here.
We want to get to the line, convert at the line, and I think we have great potential there. But then conversely, keep them off the line. So I think in the past games, this year we've actually out too much.
Because they were 0 for 3 in the first half, as I said. And the fact that they couldn't hit their free throws consistently, that's where Northern Arizona lost the game, in my opinion. And if not that, then those two technicals. So obviously another A grade goes to UH for me. I thought that for the most part, it was a pretty competitive game. UH has certainly showed that they're serious about a Big West Conference championship, maybe even winning the series. And let's hope that they can do that. Now, obviously, the tip-off time was a little later than normal. It was 8:30, obviously because of the Maui Invitational. And by the way, congrats to Purdue for winning the Maui Invitational. And I don't know if UH would have a chance at the Maui Invitational, because the Maui Invitational is the equivalent of the Diamond Head Classic on Oahu. So I didn't really ask Coach Ganot about that. I thought about it, but I backed off on that one because it isn't really that important. But, make no mistake, the Maui Invitational does bring in some really good teams. Purdue being one of them. They actually had a couple of ranked teams there too. But anyway, back on UH. Obviously, they hit the road for the Wooden Classic. They traveled to Utah, and I'll make a prediction video about that pretty soon. But for now, we're going to end it here. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe. I will catch you all later. You will see some more shots from my B-roll from my phone that I took. And you will see more shots to end this video. So for now, just remember, subscribe. I will catch you all later. And if you want to see some more of these recap videos, or if you want to see some more of my game show games, just hit the subscribe button. I want to remonetize my channel, and I want to be able to keep it too. So just remember, subscribe. I will catch you all later. Malama Pono, everyone.